Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, everybody. Welcome to another session of Friday Gems. I'm super excited today because we have a special guest joining us for today's Friday Gems. But I hope you're all doing well. Please let us know where you're tuning in from today, who you're watching this with. If this is your first time, if you're a regular to Friday Gems, let us know where you're tuning in from, inshallah, and we will share some of those on the screen. But let's go ahead and get started. So we want to let you know that we've posted these flyers on all of our social media. We're just now getting started, and you can send your friends the link CelebrateMercy.com/Friday to invite them to attend this program, to listen to the Quran being recited, to get the reward for that, to listen to some beautiful lessons that we can all take away, inshallah. So you can post this flyer on your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever you can share on. Please do share it and invite others to tune in. If you are new to this program, we are Celebrate Mercy. And if you're wondering what is Celebrate Mercy, what do we do? Our mission is to teach the life of the Prophet ﷺ and his character through our words and our actions to Muslims and to people of other faiths. We do this through several avenues, such as our webinars, social media, events, trips, and campaigns, words and actions. We started about 11 years ago, so I think in 2011. And some of the campaigns that we've done previously have gotten some attention. We've done our Feed Their Legacy campaign, where we did a food drive in honor of Dia Yusr and Razan. We've raised money for the Jewish cemeteries that were raised to help the Pittsburgh Synagogue. And we've gotten some attention from people, in national media, like the Stephen Colbert Show, CNN. Alhamdulillah, we've been able to do a lot of work all through Allah's grace and through your support. Some of our previous events before COVID hit, we did a lot of in-person events, some big events like our Portrait of the Prophet session. We had different guests come on, such as Sister Dadia Mujahid, and Mufti Hussein Kamani, as you can see here. We had a lot of people tune in. Join us in person in different places. We did them all across the country. But since COVID, we've actually been doing these weekly webinars that you're tuning into today. We've had Imam Zaid. It's been a while since he's come on, but inshallah, he's joining us again today. But we've had different guests join us, such as Dr. Jackson, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf. So alhamdulillah. And we've also done virtual conferences, which we have big webinars, like our one-time webinars, such as our Isra and Miraj session, our Peace in a Pandemic. And alhamdulillah, since COVID, we've been able to reach out to more of a global audience. I'm sure some of you are tuning in from across the globe, such as like our Night of Remembrance. We've had a lot of big online conferences and some of our online courses that we've done. We've had different things like the Heart of the Prophet ﷺ, our Black Lives Are the Messenger, which we just did for the third time. We just finished last week. And the first time we did it, we had over 14,000 people register for this class, our Portrait of the Prophet class. And this year we did the first Children's Shama'at series, which was a really beautiful series. I think a lot of kids really enjoyed it. Inshallah, we'll be able to do more children's series coming up in Ramadan. So as you can see here, we've done over 800 hours of new content. We've raised over $1 million for relief projects. We've done different online campaigns. Again, all through your support, your dua, and through Allah's grace and his mercy and his tawfiq. So we want to thank you for, allowing us to do this and for helping us, keep our programs going. And your du'as really support us. And if you'd like to make a donation, you can go to CelebrateMercy.com/donate. You can give a one-time or a monthly donation. And this helps us keep doing these programs, keep doing these sessions, these different trips that we do through your support. I did want to let you know also, we just finished, again, this course that we finished last week, this Black Lives Are on the Messenger course. You can still access the recordings if you go to CelebrateMercy.com/BL and register. You should have full access to all the classes that we did. It was a really beautiful session. I was able to tune into some of them. And we had different teachers. Sheikh Mendez was our main teacher, and we had different people come on, such as Ustad Abedullah, Ustad Zainab Ansari. Sheikh Yasser Fahmi had joined us for one of them. So alhamdulillah, a lot of people were able to come, a lot of guests. But if you missed out on that, you can still watch the recordings and access them by going to CelebrateMercy.com/BL. We do want to let you know to save the date for this upcoming Monday, inshallah. The evening of Monday evening, February 28th, we'll be doing a Surah and Mi'raj session, inshallah, Ascent After Anguish. It's one of our more popular one-time webinars. This is the third year, I believe, that we've been doing it. And so definitely tune into that if you can. But we are going to go ahead and get started shortly, inshallah. We're going to go into the recitation of Surat Al-Kahf. And just as a reminder for why we do that, why do we recite Surat Al-Kahf on Fridays? The Messenger of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us that, if you do read Surat Al-Kahf, a light will appear for you below the throne as high as the skies, and this light will help us on the day of judgment. And all the sins that we've committed from last Friday until this Friday will be forgiven, inshallah. And so we want to invite others to be able to share in those rewards and share in those blessings. Again, like we say here at Celebrate Mercy, sharing is khairing. So all of your social media, all your WhatsApp, your Telegram, whatever you use, definitely to share this, inshallah. And the Prophet ﷺ told us that whoever directs others to a good deed is as the one who did it. So you get the reward for being here. You also get to get the reward of others who join in, and they get the reward as well. And so we're sharing the khair, we're sharing in the barakah, inshallah. So do invite others to tune in at celebratemercy.com/RSVP. We are going to go ahead and get started. I will introduce our guest reciter, inshallah. Qari Amar Bellaha was born and raised in Morocco, where he studied Quran and Tajweed from the age of 7. He memorized the Quran at 17 from the Madrasat Imam Nafia. He has ijazah for the Hafs and worst forms of recitation. And in 1994 and 95, he was awarded top prizes in the National Moroccan Tajweed competition. He's recognized for the beauty, clarity, and excellence of his recitation, and is one of the Bay Area's foremost Quran teachers, and he currently teaches at North Star School, Zaytuna College, MCC East Bay, and privately. And he lives in the Bay Area with his wife and 3 young children. If you'd like to check out more of Qari Amar's recitations, then you can go to bit.ly/Amar Bellaha. But we will go ahead and get started, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Qari Amar. How are you doing?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. We'll go ahead and get started. Assalamu alaikum.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا وإنا لجاعلون ما عليها صعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذا والفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا فضربنا على آذانهم في الكهف سنين عددا ثم بعثناهم لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى لما لبثوا أمدا نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق إنهم فتيتنا آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى وربطنا على قلوبهم إذ قاموا فقالوا ربنا رب السماوات والأرض لن ندعو من دونه إلها لقد قلنا إذا شططا هؤلاء قوم اتخذوا من دونه آلهة لولا ياتون عليهم بسلطان بين فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا وإذ اعتزلتموهم وما يعبدون إلا الله فأووا إلى الكهف ينشر لكم ربكم من رحمته ويهيئ لكم من أمركم مرفقا وترى الشمس إذا طلعت تزاور عن كهفهم ذات اليمين وإذا غربت تقرضهم ذات الشمال وهم في فجوة منه ذلك من آيات الله من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وتحسبهم أيقاظا وهم رقود ونقلبهم ذات اليمين وذات الشمال وكلبهم باسط ذراعيه بالوصيد لو اطلعت عليهم لوليت منهم فرارا ولملئت منهم رعبا وكذلك بعثناهم ليتساءلوا بينهم قال قائل منهم كم لبثتم قالوا لبثنا يوما أو بعض يوم قالوا ربكم أعلم بما لبثتم فابعثوا أحدكم بورقكم هذه إلى المدينة فلينظر أيها أزكى طعاما فلياتكم برزق منه وليتلطف ولا يشعرن بكم أحدا إنهم إن يظهروا عليكم يرجموكم أو يعيدوكم في ملتهم ولن تفلحوا إذا أبدا وكذلك أعثرنا عليهم ليعلموا أن وعد الله حق وأن الساعة لا ريب فيها إذ يتنازعون بينهم أمرهم فقالوا ابنوا عليهم بنيانا ربهم أعلم بهم قال الذين غلبوا على أمرهم لنتخذن عليهم مسجدا سيقولون ثلاثة رابعهم كلبهم
ويقولون 5 سادسهم كلبهم رجما بالغيب ويقولون 7 وثامنهم كلبهم قل ربي أعلم بعدتهم ما يعلمهم إلا قليل قل ربي أعلم بعدتهم ما يعلمهم إلا قليل فلا تمار فيهم إلا مراء ظاهرا ولا تستفت فيهم منهم أحدا ولا تقولن لشيء إني فاعل ذلك غدا إلا أن يشاء الله واذكر ربك إذا نسيت وقل عسى أن يهديني ربي لأقرب من هذا رشدا ولبثوا في كهفهم 300 سنين وازدادوا 9 قل الله أعلم بما لبثوا له غيب السماوات والأرض أبصر به وأسمع ما لهم من دونه من ولي ولا يشرك في حكمه أحدا واتل ما أوحي إليك من كتاب ربك لا مبدل لكلماته ولن تجد من دونه ملتحدا واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عيناك عنهم تريد زينة الحياة الدنيا ولا تطع من اغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع هواه وكان أمره فرطا وقل الحق من ربكم فمن شاء فليؤمن ومن شاء فليكفر إنا أعتدنا للظالمين نارا حاط بهم سرادقها وإن يستغيثوا يغاثوا بماء كالمهل يشوي الوجوه بئس الشراب وساءت مرتفقا إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات إنا لا نضيع أجر من أحسن عملا أولئك لهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتهم الأنهار يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب ويلبسون ثيابا خضرا من سندس واستبرق متكئين فيها على الأرائك نعم الثواب وحسنت مرتفقا واضرب لهم مثل الرجلين جعلنا لأحدهما جنتين من أعناب وحففناهما بنخل وجعلنا بينهما زرعا كلتا الجنتين آتت أكلها ولم تظلم منه شيئا وفجرنا خلالهما نهرا وكان له ثمر فقال لصاحبه وهو يحاوره أنا أكثر منك مالا وأعز نفرا ودخل جنته وهو ظالم لنفسه قال ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا وما أظن الساعة قائمة ولئن رددت إلى ربي لأجدن خيرا منهما منقلبا. قال له صاحبه وهو يحاوره أكفرت بالذي خلقك من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم سواك رجلا لكن هو الله ربي ولا أشرك بربي أحدا. ولولا إذ دخلت جنتك قلت ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله إن ترني أنا أقل منك مالا وولدا فعسى ربي أن يؤتيني خيرا من جنتك ويرسل عليها حسبانا من السماء فتصبح صعيدا زلقا أو يصبح ماؤها غورا فلن تستطيع له طلبا. وأحيط بثمره فأصبح يقلب كفيه على ما أنفق فيها وهي خاوية على عروشها ويقول يا ليتني لمشرك بربي أحدا. ولم تكن له فئة ينصرونه من دون الله وما كان منتصرا. هنالك الولاية لله الحق هو خير ثوابا وخير عقبا. واضرب لهم مثل الحياة الدنيا كماء أنزلناه من السماء فاختلط به نبات الأرض فأصبح هشيما تذروه الرياح وكان الله على كل شيء مقتدرا. المال والبنون زينة الحياة الدنيا والباقيات الصالحات خير عند ربك ثوابا وخير أملا. ويوم نسير الجبال وترى الأرض بارزة وحشرناهم فلم نغادر منهم أحدا وعرضوا على ربك صفا لقد جئتمونا كما خلقناكم أول مرة بل زعمتم أن لن نجعل لكم موعدا. ووضع الكتاب فترى المجرمين مشفقين مما فيه ويقولون يا ويلتنا ما لهذا الكتاب لا يغادر صغيرة ولا كبيرة إلا أحصاها ووجدوا ما عملوا حاضرا ولا يظلم ربك أحدا. وإذ قلنا للملائكة اسجدوا لآدم فسجدوا إلا إبليس كان من الجن ففسق عن أمر ربه أفتتخذونه وذريته أولياء من دوني وهم لكم عدو بئس للظالمين بدلا. ما أشهدتهم خلق السماوات والأرض ولا خلق أنفسهم وما كنت متخذ المضلين عضدا ويوم يقول نادوا شركائي الذين زعمتم فدعوهم فلم يستجيبوا لهم وجعلنا بينهم موبقا ورأى المجرمون النار فظنوا أنهم مواقعوها ولم يجدوا عنها مصرفا ولقد صرفنا في هذا القرآن للناس من كل مثل وكان الإنسان أكثر شيء جدلا وما منع الناس أن يؤمنوا إذ جاءهم الهدى ويستغفروا ربهم إلا أن تاتيهم سنة الأولين أو ياتيهم العذاب قبلا وما نرسل المرسلين إلا مبشرين ومنذرين ويجادل الذين كفروا بالباطل ليدحضوا به الحق واتخذوا آياتي وما أنذروا هزؤا ومن أظلم ممن ذكر بآيات ربه فأعرض عنها ونسي ما قدمت يداه إنا جعلنا على قلوبهم أكنة أن يفقهوه وفي آذانهم وقرا وإن تدعهم إلى الهدى فلن يهتدوا إذا أبدا وربك الغفور ذو الرحمة لو يواخذهم بما كسبوا لعجل لهم العذاب بل لهم موعد لن يجدوا من دونه موئلا وتلك القرى أهلكناهم لما ظلموا وجعلنا لمهلكهم موعدا وإذ قال موسى لفتاه لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين أو أمضي حقبا فلما بلغا مجمع بينهما نسيا حوتهما فاتخذ سبيله في البحر سربا فلما جاوزا قال لفتاه آتنا غداءنا لقد لقينا من سفرنا هذا نصبا قال أرأيت إذا وينا إلى الصخرة فإني نسيت الحوت وما أنسانيه إلا الشيطان أن أذكره واتخذ سبيله في البحر عجبا قال ذلك ما كنا نبغ فارتدا على آثارهما قصصا فوجدا عبدا من عبادنا آتيناه رحمة من عندنا وعلمناه من لدنا علما قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا قال إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا قال ستجدني إن شاء الله صابرا ولا أعصي لك أمرا قال فإن اتبعتني فلا تسألني عن شيء حتى أحدث لك منه ذكرا فانطلقا حتى إذا ركبا في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا قال ألم قل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال لا تواخذني بما نسيت ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا فانطلقا حتى إذا لقيا غلاما فقتله قال أقتلت نفسا زاكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا قال ألم قل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال إن سألتك عن شيء بعدها فلا تصاحبني قد بلغت من لدني عذرا فانطلقا حتى إذا أتيا أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا أن يضيفوهما فوجدا فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقامه قال لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتاويل ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا أما السفينة فكانت لمساكين يعملون في البحر فأردت أن أعيبها وكان وراءهم ملك يأخذ كل سفينة غصبا وأما الغلام فكان أبواه مؤمنين فخشينا أن يرهقهما طغيانا وكفرا فأردنا أن يبدلهما ربهما خيرا منه زكاة وأقرب رحما وأما الجدار فكان لغلامين يتيمين في المدينة وكان تحته كنز لهما وكان أبوهما صالحا فأراد ربك أن يبلغا أشدهما ويستخرجا كنزهما رحمة من ربك وما فعلته عن أمري ذلك تاويل ما لم تسطع عليه صبرا ويسألونك عن ذي القرنين قل سأتلو عليكم منه ذكرا إنا مكنا له في الأرض وآتيناه من كل شيء سببا فاتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة ووجد عندها قوما قلنا يا ذا القرنين إما أن تعذب وإما أن تتخذ فيهم حسنا قال أما من ظلم فسوف نعذبه ثم يرد إلى ربه فيعذبه عذابا نكرا وأما من آمن وعمل صالحا فله جزاء الحسنى وسنقول له من أمرنا يسرا ثم اتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ مطلع الشمس وجدها تطلع على قوم لم نجعل لهم من دونها سترا كذلك وقد أحطنا بما لديه خبرا ثم أتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ بين السدين وجد من دونهما قوما لا يكادون يفقهون قولا قالوا يا ذا القرنين إن ياجوج وماجوج مفسدون في الأرض فهل نجعل لك خرجا على أن تجعل بيننا وبينهم سدا قال ما مكني فيه ربي خير فأعينوني بقوة نجعل بينكم وبينهم ردما آتوني زبر الحديد حتى إذا ساوى بين الصدفين قال انفخوا حتى إذا جعله نارا قال آتوني أفرغ عليه قطرا فما استطاعوا أن يظهروه وما استطاعوا له نقبا قال هذا رحمة من ربي فإذا جاء وعد ربي جعله دكا وكان وعد ربي حقا وتركنا بعضهم يومئذ يموج في بعض ونفخ في الصور فجمعناهم جمعا وعرضنا جهنم يومئذ للكافرين عرضا الذين كانت أعينهم في غطاء عن ذكري وكانوا لا يستطيعون سمعا أفحسب الذين كفروا أن يتخذوا عبادي من دوني أولياء إنا أعتدنا جهنم للكافرين نزلا قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا أولئك الذين كفروا بآيات ربهم ولقائه فحبطت أعمالهم فلا نقيم لهم يوم القيامة وزنا ذلك جزاؤهم جهنم بما كفروا واتخذوا آياتي ورسلي هزؤا إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا خالدين فيها لا يبغون عنها حولا قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولو جئنا بمثله مددا قل إنما أنا بشر مثلكم يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. صدق الله العظيم.
Sadaqallah al-Azim. Thank you so much, Qari Amar, for blessing us with that beautiful recitation. Alhamdulillah, we've gotten so many comments, people really enjoying it. Sister Layla said, MashaAllah, may Allah protect and preserve you, Qari Amar, and your family, that you guys are gems of the Bay Area, and they're truly blessed to have you in the community. And we are so blessed that you joined us today, so may Allah reward you, and we will see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. So alhamdulillah, that was Brother Qari Amar. Please do make sure you keep him and his family in your dua, and thank him for joining us on this blessed Friday. If you want to learn more about his recitation or check out more of that, you can go to bit.ly/Amar Bellaha, inshallah, to see more of his recitations, inshallah, and make sure again you keep him and his family in your duas. We want to remind you, inshallah, to give this video a thumbs up, to subscribe to the channel, and to hit the bell notification. By giving this video a thumbs up, more people will see it, inshallah. You get to spread the word of Allah, the Quran, what we just listened to. We will have more, inshallah, Quran reflections from our guest teachers. And if you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll get notified every time we go live, every time we post a video, inshallah, so you can be notified every time we do something and you can join in, inshallah. We want to again remind you that here at Celebrate Mercy, we like to say sharing is khairing. So you can post about this, talk about this on your Twitter, your Instagram, your Facebook, and you can tag us, inshallah. You can also send the link to this. It's CelebrateMercy.com/Friday to all your friends, family, via text, WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever you use, inshallah, to communicate. Definitely do that. And we, inshallah, should be good. If you would like to sponsor our Friday Gems, you can email us at CelebrateMercy, info@CelebrateMercy.com. And this is a great way to get some hasana on Friday. As you see, all over 200 people are tuning into this to listen to the recitation of Quran. So all that reward that the teachers get, you'll also get by spreading the word and by supporting this, inshallah. So again, email us at info@CelebrateMercy.com. And we do want to let you know that we are hiring. So if you go to CelebrateMercy.com/careers, you can learn more about our, full-time positions, inshallah, and you can apply to that to join the Celebrate Mercy team. We'll be having a lot more events and programs coming up soon. So if you are interested, go to CelebrateMercy.com/careers. And we do want to let you know again about our upcoming Ascent After Anguish Reflections on Isra and Mi'raj session, which will be, inshallah, this coming up Monday, February 28th. So do save the date, put it in your calendar. Whatever you do to remind yourself, we will be giving you more information about timings and things like that. We'll be probably posting it on our social media and sending it out via email and WhatsApp and things like that. But do put this in your calendar and save the date for it. And if you missed this last session, we just finished this week, our Black Lives Are on the Messenger course, course. And so you can still get access to all the recordings, all the classes via CelebrateMercy.com/BL. And we had different guests join us. Sheikh Mendez was our main instructor. As you know, he just finished translating. We just released the translation of the Imam Suyuti's book on the spirits of Black folks take your stages through the ages. And so Sheikh Mendez taught a class on this, and we had different guests, such as Sheikh Aisha Prime, Asada Zainab Ansari joined us, Imam Dawood Walid, different guests joined us. So if you want access to it, if you missed out, it's okay. You can still get access to all the videos and all the classes, again, at CelebrateMercy.com/BL. So we should be jumping into our reflection portion very shortly. Let's make sure our guest is here, inshallah. But I did want to share some more of our comments from those who tuned into Qari Amar's recitation. Alhamdulillah. So Sister Leanne, who I do know, Assalamualaikum, Sister Leanne, was saying, Alhamdulillah, so beautiful. My heart is full of love for Allah, Islam, and all of my brothers and sisters in Islam around the world. And so many of you shared beautiful comments and beautiful things. And I did promise that I would give everybody tuning in to say salam to everyone tuning in from across the globe. We have Sister Miriam from Canada. We actually have multiple people from Canada, mashallah. Sister Cece from Virginia. I saw someone tuning in from Germany earlier. I don't know if that was still up there, inshallah. We have Long Island, New York, mashallah, Massachusetts. Uncle Mansour from Georgia. This is Ustad Zainab's father. Assalamu alaikum, Uncle Mansour. I hope you're doing well. We have Sister Thoria from Virginia. Mashallah, we have quite a few Virginia people tuning in. And I did see someone from Germany. Okay, Sister KK, mashallah. She said this is the highlight of her week. She's bathing in the ocean of mercy generated by this blessed program. May Allah bless you and grant us all peace and security. Sir Carolyn, thank you. Ameen to that beautiful dua. So inshallah, we should be jumping into the next portion very soon. We will be having Imam Zaid Shakir joining us. So let me just make sure that he is here, inshallah. Do let us know what you thought of that beautiful recitation. And also if you have any questions, we will be having a Q&A portion very soon. At the end of today's session, we will have a Q&A portion. And so you can ask Imam Zaid Shakir any questions related to the reflection he's going to share, or any general questions that you have for Imam Zaid. As we know, Imam Zaid is known as the People's Imam. And so we're very blessed to have him joining us today. I think he should be joining in a few moments. But we do want to also ask, like, if you've been tuning in, if this is your first Friday Gems, how many Friday Gems you've been able to tune into, what are some of your favorite sessions? Please do let us know, inshallah, about that. But we do have another quick announcement to make. While we wait for our guests to join us. That we, alhamdulillah, Celebrate Mercy, we are run by your du'as, your support. And so if you would like to, on this beautiful Friday, to get the most barakah out of this day, you can go to CelebrateMercy.com/donate to make a one-time or a monthly donation to support the work that we do. We want to keep being able to spread the Quran, to spread the word of the Prophet ﷺ, to spread his message. And so we do this again through your du'as and through your monetary support. So if you are able to support us this Friday, please do. And if you can't, just make dua for us, make dua for the team. We have several people actually on a trip currently, our Umrah trip. Brother Tariq is on that trip as well. They're going to Umrah, so they're doing Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. So do keep them in your du'as on this day, inshallah. And inshallah, they keep us in their du'as as well. And if you are new to Celebrate Mercy, or if you are you're wondering, what do we do? What have we done since COVID? We, alhamdulillah, have been able to do 800 hours of new content, over 200K hours content viewed. So all the people who tune in after and just watch the recordings, over 390 webinars, and I'm sure this is closer to 400 now since we've been doing this weekly session. We've raised over $1 million in relief projects, alhamdulillah, for different things such as food drives, to support the Jewish synagogue when it was raided, and several projects, alhamdulillah, and we've done 8 online campaigns. And so again, we just want to thank you all for your support, for every time you guys tune in, every time you make dua for us. Okay, inshallah. Anytime you make dua for us, then we are able to do all of this through you. So Imam Zaid should be joining us very shortly, but we will be playing inshallah, a quick video while we wait for him to join us. And again, if you've, oh wow, alhamdulillah, been tuning in for 2 years, wow, mashallah. So Shakir. Okay, so Imam Zaid, I think he goes by Imam Zaid Shakir. But we can ask him. I'll ask him for the proper pronunciation when he does join us, inshallah. But for those of you, again, we would love to know how often you've tuned in. What are some of your favorite sessions, some of your favorite things that we've done, if it's Friday Jams, if it's a different session, anything that you've learned from Celebrate Mercy, from Friday Jams. We'd love to hear from you, get your feedback so we can keep doing more work, inshallah, and we know what is good for you, what we can teach, inshallah. Okay, so we are actually going to play a quick video from our last Umrah. While we have the people on Umrah, again, we want to keep them in our du'as, but we want to show you a quick video from our last Umrah to just show some of the work that Celebrate Mercy does do. Our trips are a big part, and we haven't been able to do them for a while because of COVID, but alhamdulillah, we've been able to go back very recently, and so we wanted to show you guys some of the videos and some of the content from that last Umrah, inshallah, so you can get ready for if anybody wants to go on the next Umrah to just get us excited for that. So inshallah, we can play that right now. Thank you, Sister Noor. So that was just a quick video from, I think this is the first time they entered Masjid Nabawi. But we did have a question about the recitation that we just had. And yes, that was Warsh by Qari Amar. It is one of my favorite forms of recitation. So yes, that was Warsh by Qari Amar. And someone else asked a quick question as well. Let me just pull that up. Thank you. Oh, Imam Zaid, yes. We do, this is Dr. Hadia. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Hadia Mubarak. So she said the main reason she joined today is to listen to this beautiful exemplar of prophetic character, mashallah. Yes, alhamdulillah. I know Imam Zaid is like, again, we call him the people's imam. Every time I've met him, he just reminds me so much of the Prophet ﷺ. And so, mashallah, we are super excited. He should be joining us very shortly. I think he's just getting ready and getting prepared to join the stream. Brother Hamza has said, my favorite sessions are every session. So thank you, Brother Hamza, for saying that. And again, we welcome your feedback. Anything that you can tell us, anything that you can provide for us so that we can keep doing this and, keep improving our content. We love to hear from the audience and from all of you who tune in. So let me check on Imam Zaid quickly. Okay. Inshallah, I think we should be showing some more Umrah pictures while we wait. Oh, mashallah. Sister Lily, did you go to this Umrah? Emotional seeing the Green Dome and his resting place. I also recently went to Umrah, and it is a really beautiful. It's a really beautiful place. Like so many people just crying, and we went at the end of COVID, and so it was a really interesting experience being there. But alhamdulillah, I think it was a good time for us to go because there wasn't a lot of people, and I had heard from a lot of other people that they weren't able to spend too much time in the road that we did, and it wasn't a lot of people, so we were able to do that. And I'm super excited to hear from this year's group from what they get back, especially going to Jerusalem and going through. I know Sheikh Mendez is joining them. I believe Shaykh is joining them, and so alhamdulillah, they have a lot of different scholars, and it's just going to be a really beautiful experience. I'm so excited to hear from them. this question about today's live stream. I think it's a specific, we'll be going over the story from Surah Al-Kahf, inshallah. And so, but any question that you might have, you can ask any question to Imam Zaid at the end of the program. You can put the questions in here or email them to us again at info@CelebrateMercy. And we will ask Imam Zaid at the end of the program, inshallah. Okay. Sister Manira, she went on the CM trip in December and I cried the entire trip. MashaAllah. We'd love to hear more about your experience. If you'd like to share it in the comments. Oh, Bismillah. I'm Aisha's daughter. I love Friday Gems. Thank you, Aisha. I hope you're doing what? Sister Aisha's daughter. You love Friday Gems. Can't wait for the Ramadan series. I know, MashaAllah, it's less than 40 days away to Ramadan. And so we are very, very excited. I hope all of you are preparing. It's the month of Rajab. And so this is the time to, really plant the seeds that we're going to have in Ramadan, inshallah. And RUJ is in Tennessee. I'm also in Tennessee as well. So yeah, we would love, again, to hear from where everybody's tuning in from. Sister Dina from Texas, please do let us know where you're tuning in from, just some of your favorite things about Friday Gems or any Celebrate Mercy session that we've done, anything you'd love to hear, guests that you'd like to have on from us, or topics you'd love to hear. We'd love to hear, again, your suggestions. So send them to us here, send them to us over email. This is a great time for us to be able to hear back from you. So I think we're going to show some pictures from our Umrah trip, inshallah, again, from the current Umrah. So the people who are on Umrah now, and they'll be going to Jerusalem, I think we're going to pull up some of those pictures, inshallah. Hey, Sister Noor. From Birmingham, sorry. My thing went out for a second. So Birmingham, Alabama. Assalamualaikum, Sakina. I'm guessing Sakina, maybe Ahmed from Birmingham, Alabama. We are all eagerly awaiting Imam Zaid. Just a few more moments I hear from him. Rabata, so I'm from Minnesota. Thank you, whoever is running the Rabata account. Assalamualaikum. Inshallah, maybe we can have Ansa Tamra joining us and some of our Rabata guests joining us on Friday Gem soon. And I just visited Rabata this summer, actually. I visited the center for the first time. It's really beautiful. Like, I was in love as soon as I walked through the doors. Sister Lily's from the UK, alhamdulillah. So our global audience, we really do want to hear, especially from our global audience. I don't know what time it is in the UK, but I would love to hear from you all. Where are you all turning in from, either within the United States, outside the United States? Okay, Imam Zaid is here. Let's see, inshallah, where he is. But I will go ahead. I think he's just tuning in. He's just joining us now. Oh, and anybody, I just want to say, anybody who's able to visit in Minnesota, you should definitely go to the Rabata Cultural Center. It is a very beautiful experience. They have a really nice bookstore. I bought several books from there, and you can just feel the sakina there. So if you are ever visiting Minnesota, in Minneapolis, definitely stop by the Rabata Center. Definitely encourage all of you to do so. And again, Brother Azhar Saman, who's, mashallah, I remember from my childhood, is joining from Northwest Indiana. Much love to the entire Celebrate Mercy team. Looking forward to listening to and learning from Imam Zaid. May Allah bless him and protect him. Ameen. Let's see, are we here? Okay, he's still tuning. He's still joining us. But he is tuning in, inshallah. So let me pull that up. So Imam Zaid Shakir is the co-founder and senior faculty member of Zaytuna College, located in Berkeley, California. He is amongst the most respected and influential Islamic scholars in the West. He has obtained a bachelor's with honors in international relations at American University in Washington, D.C., and later earned his master's in political science at Rutgers University for 7 years in Syria. And he studied for 7 years in Syria and briefly in Morocco. And he immersed himself in an intense study of Arabic, Islamic law, Quranic studies, and spirituality with some of the top Muslim scholars of our age. And in 2001, he graduated from Syria's prestigious Abu Noor University. the bachelor's in Islamic Sciences, and he has recently been appointed as the new chair of MANA, the Muslim Alliance in North America. And he works there with my father. Let's see, are we here? Any other things to plug? Yes, if anybody else, any other organizations besides Rabata, if you're tuning in, we would love to be able to share your work and share the things that you do. So if you do have anything, please comment and let us know, inshallah. But is Imam Zaid here? I think he should be here. Okay, these are some of the pictures from our current Umrah trip. So I think this is at the airport right before they're about to go. As you can see, Brother Tariq joined. That's why he's not hosting today. But I'm so excited to hear about when they come back, inshallah. And this is just some of the pictures. I guess they went to Jerusalem first, mashallah. And these are just some of their pictures from inside Dome of the Rock, mashallah. Let's see. This is the group. Wow, this is actually my first time seeing a lot of these pictures, so I'm really excited to see them. Mashallah, it's a beautiful group. It's a really diverse group. So these are just some of the pictures that we have from this trip. Again, keep this group in your du'as. They're doing so, I'm sure they're keeping us all in our du'as, inshallah. Some of the posts that they're sharing they went to Jama'at today, actually. Wow, mashallah, they went to Jama'at at the Dome of the Rock. So what a beautiful thing to be able to do. Inshallah, we all get to go visit, make this one of our Jummah du'as, inshallah, that we all get to go visit this beautiful place and attend Jummah here and attend Jummah in Mecca and Medina, inshallah, ameen. And Sister Manira, who went on the last one, is saying it was the best opportunity anyone could ask for. Being in Medina and Mecca was so precious, and my experiences were life-changing. The tours, lectures, and care were exceptional, and that the road that was otherworldly, definitely. And if anybody hasn't been able to go, I pray that Allah allows you to go very, very soon, and allows those of us who've been able to go, to return constantly back to the Prophet. And one of the older sisters who went with us in my group, she told me that she had been to Umrah 6 times. And every time she goes, she makes dua that she's allowed to return, and she's been able to go 6 times, and she's gone to Hajj, I think 3 times. And she's an older sister, and I was like, I need to stay with you. I need you to make dua for me to keep coming back. So may Allah, keep inviting us back. I did want to share this comment by Brother Hamza. If you're interested in receiving some reward, tune into Lanterna's YouTube page, which is run by one of our teachers who comes on here constantly, Shaykh Hisham Mahmoud. At 9:30 Eastern for a reading of Surah Al-Mulk every night, and that is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, where he would read Surah Al-Mulk every night before he went to bed. So we're trying to revive that sunnah. So please do tune into, again, Lanterna's YouTube page with Shaykh Hisham Mahmoud, who again is a constant guest on Celebrate Mercy. So do tune into that, and let me check again for Imam Zaid. And if you do have any questions, again, please do share them in the comments for when Imam Zaid joins us. And oh, perfect, he's here. All right, Imam Zaid, assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We're so glad you're able to join.
For the delay. I was actually listening to Brother Tariq explaining things, and I didn't realize I'm a participant.
No.
I apologize for the delay to everyone. I'm in the Northeast. We had a big snowstorm, and that precipitated some interesting adventures today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Alhamdulillah. So, Imam Zaid, I think we're going to go ahead and do the reflection portion where you can reflect on some of the ayahs. Then we'll take a quick break and then go into the khutbah portion, inshallah.
Would it be possible to merge the two?
We can merge the two.
My understanding was that we were running a little late.
Yeah.
In any case, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Let me just put my phone on airplane mode. Barakallahu fikum ajma'in. So we're doing a section of Surah Kahf, the section of the two men and their respective gardens. And the themes that we're focusing on are delusion and materialism. And the two are definitely interconnected, a point which we will try to make anyway. So we'll go through the verses, inshallah, and then we'll reflect on the verses. So we're going to really combine the reflection with the khutbah, inshallah. So you have 7 or 8 little khutbahs. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. واضرب لهم مثل الرجلين جعلنا لأحدهما جنتين من أعناب وحففناهما بنخل وجعلنا بينهما زرعا. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, set forth to them, this is the Yusuf Ali translation I'm reading, not my own translation. I might alter it a little. Set forth to them the parable of two men. For one of them we provided 2 gardens of grapevines and surrounded them with date palms. And between the 2 we placed tillage. So this man, one man, he had 2 beautiful gardens. And they're surrounded by date palms. And we'll talk about this in a second. After the next verse, كلتا الجنتين آتت أكلها ولم تظلم منه شيئا وفجرنا خلالهما نهرا. So each of those 2 gardens brought forth its produce and failed not in the least. So no crop failures, no erratic weather. This is pre-global warming. Weather is very predictable and consistent. And in the midst of them, we caused the river to flow. So a point to be made here, if any of you are familiar with permaculture gardening, this is one of the methodologies that's used. Taller plants on the perimeter, especially in desert and very hot areas. So they're surrounded by date palms, which provide shade. So they're surrounded. We surrounded them, so as the sun moves across the sky, they're always shaded. And so these crops aren't burning up in the desert heat. Even if they're well irrigated, it's so hot in some parts of the world that without shade, you can't properly grow any crops. And so, as you mentioned, they brought forth their produce and they never failed. This is the first point we'll mention in terms of delusion. The predictability, the fertility, the abundance of the garden, these 2 gardens, deluded this man into thinking they would never fail because they've always produced. As long as I've owned this, or my fathers before me, they've always produced their harvest. There was always water in the river. And another aspect of permaculture is having centralized irrigation so that it flows proportionately. If the river's on one side, then the extreme, the further you get away from the bank, the less productivity. But the river's right in the middle. And so there's balanced, even distribution of the water, and there's easy to irrigate because let's say the river's on one border, then you have to dig a very long irrigation trench. And as the water flows, it diminishes, and some is absorbed in the ground. But these two trenches are relatively short. They're half of what their length might have been had the river been on the perimeter. So that only added to the productivity of the garden. And then Allah Ta'ala relates, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وكان له ثمر فقال لصاحبه وهو يحاوره أنا أكثر منك مالا وأعز نفرا. And so the garden produced, it brought forth abundant produce. And the man who owned him, he said to his companion, when they were having a mutual discussion about their gardens, he says that I have more produce than you, and I have more wealth and more honor than you. So he said, أنا أكثر منك مالا وأعز نفرا. So I have more wealth than you. What a vile thing to say, I have more wealth than you, as if the wealth is his. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Unto Allah belongs everything in heavens and the earth. وَآتُوهُمْ مِمَّا لِلَّذِي آتَاكُمْ. Give them from the wealth of Allah that He has given you. So the wealth is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's. It's not the man's. But this man is deluded by the regularity, the productivity, the fertility of his two gardens, and he forgets this is all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the nature of materialism. The nature of materialism leads us to think that Allah Ta'ala is not involved. And so the atheist is deluded by his or her knowledge. This owner of this garden is deluded by the productivity of the garden. A young person might be deluded by their strength. And they say, I don't need Allah, I'm young and strong. This came through my working out and my dietary practices. How many people work out and they eat well, but they still can't get ripped up? It's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so he says openly, I have more wealth than you. أنا أكثر منك مالا. And I have larger family and following and a bigger entourage. So I have a bigger entourage than you. وَأَعَزُّ نَفَرًا. And not only do I have a bigger entourage, I have an entourage that makes me proud and gives me honor and makes me feel strong. وَأَعَزُّ نَفَرًا. ودخل جنته وهو ظالم لنفسه قال ما أظن أن يبيد هذه أبدا. So he went into his garden وهو ظالم لنفسه, while he is wronging his soul. So when we're filled up with pride, number one, and when we forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we say that's number one. When we forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then we're filled up with pride, and then we think that we are an active agent in Allah Ta'ala's creation. Allahu fa'alu lima yurid. Allah does what He desires. We don't do what we desire. But when we think that I want a lot of money, so I'll cultivate this field, and I'll get money and I'll get wealth. As is related that Abdullah bin Zubair said to Ibn Umar, radiallahu anhu, when Ibn Umar was testing him concerning his sheep, sell me your sheep, your owner won't know, they're not my sheep. Well, there's so many of them, if one is missing, you could say a wolf ate it. If ain't Allah, then where's Allah in all of this? And when we start forgetting about Allah, we should stop in our tracks and ask ourselves, فَأَيْنَ Allah? And where's Allah? When we start thinking that our initiative, I studied so hard and that's why I got a doctorate in this and I got a master's in that and I got a certificate in the other because I worked so hard and I'm so smart. Who gave you that brain? Who gave you that work ethic? Who gave you that heart? Allah. Stop in your tracks and say, whoa, wait a minute. This isn't from me. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask yourself that simple question, فَأَيْنَ Allah? And where's Allah in all of this? And so this man totally forgot about Allah. وَدَخَلَ جَنَّتَهُ وَهُوَ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. And he's oppressing his soul through his heedlessness, through his reliance on material causes and material means, through his forgetting about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through his thinking that he's responsible for all of this. So he says, I deem this will never perish. قال ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا. So I don't think this will ever perish. It's never going to go away. Next. وما أظن الساعة قائمة ولئن رددت إلى ربي لأجدن خيرا منها منقلبا. Nor do I think that the hour of judgment, doomsday, will ever come. Even if I am brought back to my Lord, I will surely find there something better in exchange. So he sinks deeper into the depths of his delusion. So he not only thinks that his worldly garden will never perish. So I mispronounced that the first time. I said ain yabida. The second time correct. An tabida hadihi abada. So that's the proper. And tabida hadihi abada. In any case. So, and then he says, so he doesn't think his garden will ever perish, and he never thinks he will leave this world and be accountable. وما أظن الساعة قائمة ولئن رددت إلى ربي. And if it does come, I have good waiting for me. I have good waiting for me. So if I am returned to my Lord, what does he say? لَأَجِدَنَّ خَيْرًا مِنْهَا مُنْقَلَبًا. I will have something better in exchange for this garden. La ilaha illallah. So, but that's the nature of materialism, and that's the nature of delusion. Once we depend on material causes, then we are deceived and deluded by the fact that what we immediately perceive, number one, it wasn't always here. So if we only thought of its origin, and the origin of everything, as the theologians say, min al-adam, that it all came out of nothingness. كان الله ولا شيء معه وهو الآن على ما عليه كان. There was Allah and nothing existed along with him, and he is now as he was then. Totally independent from his creation, totally in charge of his creation, solely responsible for the existence of this creation. So if he reflected on the past, which came out of nothingness, he would know this is a proof of the finite nature of what does exist. Says the author of Jawharat al-Tawheed, he says, Imam al-Laqani, فانظر إلى نفسك ثم انتقلي للعالم العلوي ثم السفلي تجد فيها صنعا بديع الحكم ولكن قام فيه دليل العدم فكل ما جاز عليه العدم وعليه قطعا يستحيل قدم. So he says, look at yourself. فَانظُرْ إِلَى نَفْسِكَ. Looking at yourself. Look at the miracles of our creation. ثُمَّ انْتَقِلِي. And then turn your gaze. لِلْعَالَمِ الْعُلْوِيِّ. To the heavenly. Look at the stars. Look at the order. The sky that we see is the same sky that Galileo saw. This the same same sky rather, that At-Tusi, Al-Bayruni, the great Muslim astronomers saw. It's the same sky that the great African and the Greek and the Chinese astronomers saw. It's the same sky. Look at its vastness. Look at the order within it. The order that deluded this man, because the regularity of the seasons, which leads to the regularity of the rain, which leads to the productivity of his garden, it all deluded him. ثُمَّ انْتَقِلِي لِلْعَالَمِ الْعُلْوِيِّ. Then turn your gaze to the heavenly order. ثُمَّ السُّفْلِي. And then this worldly order. Look at all the miracles. The camel. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. The ship of the desert, its own water supply, padded hooves that don't sink into the sand and aren't affected by the scorching temperatures of that sand, double eyelids to protect against the dust storms, and on and on and on. We could spend this entire section just talking about the miracles of the camel. That's one animal. And then look at all of the miraculous things in this lower creation. للعالم العلوي ثم السفلي تجد فيها صنعا بديع الحكم. You'll find in it creations that display incredible wisdom, marvelous, amazing wisdom. ولكن فيه قام دليل العدم. But the proof of its origin and nothingness is established against it. فَكُلُّ مَا جَازَ عَلَيْهِ الْعَدَمُ. And everything that is contingently existed, having been brought into existence out of nothing, عَلَيْهَا قَطْعًا يَسْتَحِيلُ كِدَمُ. It's absolutely impossible for that thing to exist forever, because it returns to its origin. But he was deluded to that. He didn't look back at the origins, that this came out of nothing. There was nothing but sand in this desert expanse. And then the river flowed through it. And then it was capable of producing something. But it didn't start out like that. It requires cultivation. It requires irrigation. It requires attention, or it will go back to its origin of nothing. But he forgot. And then he went further, and he forgot about the judgment and his return to his origin, his return to his meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he was further deluded. And he poses a hypothetical, whether in, but even if I am brought back to my Lord, I will find good in exchange. Then in Allah. Now his companion speaks, and his words are beautiful, and there are many deep lessons in his words. He said, قَالَ لَهُ صَاحِبُهُ وَهُوَ يُحَاوِرُهُ أَكَفَرْتَ بِالَّذِي خَلَقَكَ مِنْ تُرَابٍ أَكَفَرْتَ بِالَّذِي خَلَقَكَ مِنْ تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ مِنْ نُطْفَةٍ ثُمَّ سَوَّاكَ رَجُلًا. His companion said to him in the course of their discussion, do you think, or do you deny him who created you out of dust, and then a sperm drop, and then fashioned you into a man, into a human, a fully formed human? And so his companion, he doesn't start by describing his garden. He doesn't start by comparing his entourage to his companion's entourage. He starts by reminding him of something I just said. Think about your origin. Think about your origin. Think about the one who created you out of dust. and then into a sperm drop, and then fashioned you into a fully formed man. In other words, think about the miraculous nature of your creation. Number one. Number two, think about how little power you had over that process. We have absolutely no power over the process of our creation. And there's so many things that could go wrong. And they so rarely go wrong, relatively speaking. You know, think of the percentage of people that become stillborns, or the percentage of particular birth defects compared to the percentages of people come out fully capable. They might have minor things like no 20/20 vision, but I could see it. Take my glasses off, I can see just fine. The miracles that happen with such incredible regularity, when there are so many things that could go wrong at every step of the way, they defy the odds. They defy the odds of not being orchestrated by a higher power. Because the things that can go wrong at every step of the way, they're so great. For them not to go wrong, they have to be orchestrated by a higher power. But this man, he forgot all about this. And his friend starts by reminding him. And then what does his friend say? ولكن هو الله ربي ولا أشرك بربي أحدا. He said, but it is Allah as for me. ولكن أنا هو الله. Allah is my Lord, and I will not join any partner with my Lord. He's reminding him, look, you're joining yourself as a partner with your Lord in terms of your garden. You think you've brought this all about and not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're joining yourself as a partner with Allah in terms of rejecting him outright. You're joining yourself, in other words, the incredible power that it takes to orchestrate this. I did it, not Allah. You join yourself as a partner, even negating Allah, in terms of thinking this will endure forever, as if you sustain it. You cannot even guarantee, and again, let's go back to the theme of delusion. You cannot even guarantee or you cannot ensure your continued existence. So how can you ensure the continued existence of this garden? Something external to yourself. You can't even prevent your own death. And again, this demonstrates the power of delusion. You see people dying all around you. You see withered up date palms. If anyone's been in an area with a lot of date palms, you see the ones that have expired. They've died. You see the bent over trunks. You see the browned out fronds of the date palm all around you. But you're deluded into thinking the garden's going to last forever. And you're deluded into thinking you're going to last forever when every day you see death. And so that just demonstrates, my dear brothers and sisters, the power of delusion. The power of delusion rooted in materialism. So, and then he says to him, after reminding him, you're joining partners with Allah. I will never join partners with Allah. He hasn't mentioned anything of his possessions at this point. He's mentioned nothing of his possessions at this point. And then he gives him another reminder. ولولا إذ دخلت جنتك قلت ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله إن ترني أنا أقل منك مالا وولدا. And he says, why did you not think when you went into, or why didn't you say when you went into your garden, Allah's will be done. This is what Allah has willed. قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ. Why didn't you say, to be consistent with what you see on the screen, this is what Allah has willed. لا قوة إلا بالله. There's no power except with Allah. There's no power but from Allah. And then in Tarani, when he finally speaks of his possession, he doesn't say how great thou art. He doesn't say I have something to rival you. He doesn't even enumerate them. He doesn't enumerate them. He simply says, ولولا إذ دخلت جنتك قلت ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله إن تراني أنا أقل منك مالا وولدا. So he says that simply, if you see me, after mentioning, why didn't you say this is what Allah has willed when you entered your garden? Even though you may see me inferior to you in wealth and offspring. So he never mentions and attributes. He doesn't enumerate his wealth. He doesn't make an excuse for having less. He just reminds this man of the right he has to fundamental dignity. So Allahumma salli Rasulillah. كل المسلم على المسلم حرام دمه وماله وعرضه. Every Muslim has a sanctity associated with him in terms of his life, his property, and his honor. And so here he's reminding him of the honor. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah has provided all of us with a fundamental level of honor and dignity. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. And we have to respect that, starting with Muslims. You see all sorts of invectives, one Muslim slinging at the other, slander, things that rob a person of their honor, of their dignity that Allah has established, that the Prophet ﷺ reminded us of. كل المسلم على المسلم حرام دمه وماله عرضه. His life, his property, his honor, her life, her property, her honor. And these things are very serious. And this man is reminding us of that. إلا بالله إن تراني أنا أقل منك مالا وولدا. So if you see me less than you in sons and wealth, that does not excuse you in terms of your responsibility to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So instead of this is what I've brought about, this is what I own, this is what Allah has brought about through His will, through His power, through His decree, not what I have brought about. فعسى ربي أن يؤتين خيرا من جنتك ويرسل عليها حسبانا من السماء ويرسل عليها حسبانا من السماء فتصبح صعيدا زلقا. So it may be that your Lord will give me something better than your garden. In other words, what my Lord, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bestow upon me, speaking in the place of the man, what Allah can bestow upon us in terms of what we might lack in material goods is far greater than anything anyone can amass from this world. Verse after verse reminds us. Allah Ta'ala reminds us, my dear brothers and sisters, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِّمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. Say, قُلْ, in the grace of Allah, بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ, and in His mercy, in this let them rejoice. So this man was rejoicing in his garden. He was rejoicing in his entourage. He was rejoicing with his family. Allah tells the believer, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ, say in the grace of Allah. And this goes back to the garden. هَذَا مِنْ فَضْلِ رَبِّي, this is from the grace of my Lord. And what is grace? This, some people think to use grace as a translation is a Christian concept. No, grace, we don't understand it as Christian. Grace is a gift we receive from our Lord with no consideration of our deservedness for it. And the Christians just say that greatest act of God's grace was sending His only begotten Son, etc. So we reject that part, but we accept the part that we don't do anything to deserve the gifts Allah bestows upon us. Allah bestows His gifts upon whomsoever He pleases, whomsoever He chooses, whomsoever He designates or specifies to be the recipient of His blessings. And so, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا, let them rejoice in this. Don't let them rejoice in their gardens, in their homes, in their furniture, in their latest gadget, in their iPhone 14. I know we didn't get there yet, but this person, he's so full of himself, he thinks he'll be around when the iPhone 14 came out. Maybe it came out, I missed it. Don't rejoice in this stuff. Rejoice in the gifts that Allah bestows upon you. And the greatest gifts, thank Allah. So, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِهِ الشَّكُورِ. So Allah says, very few of my servants are truly thankful. Thank Allah for the great blessings. Thank Allah for the small blessings. But whenever you ask Allah for a small blessing, and we should ask Allah, وَإِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ, and when you ask, first and foremost, ask from Allah. وَإِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ وَإِذَا اسْتَعَنْتَ فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. And when you seek protection, first and foremost, seek the protection. Or when you seek assistance, first and foremost, seek the assistance of Allah. We should ask. But when we ask for something small, Ya Allah, bless me to get a new iPhone 14. Also ask for the great things. So conclude your prayer. Appendage to your prayer, Allahumma inni as'aluka ridaka wal jannah. Ya Allah, I ask you for your good pleasure and I ask you for paradise. I want an iPhone 14. I want a new car. When you ask Allah. But do not conclude your prayer for those small things. And they are all small. We can all do without them if we had to. If you're in Ukraine right now, if you're in Kiev, you're not worried about your iPhone. You're not worried about an iPhone 14. You're not even worried about your iPhone other than to communicate possibly with the outside world. You're worried about your life. And so these things are small. But ask for them. But when you ask for them, appendage to your prayer, Allahumma inni as'aluka ridaka wal jannah. Ya Allah, I ask you for your good pleasure and I ask you for paradise. So قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِّمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. It's better than anything they can gather from this world. بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. They prefer the life of this world, but the hereafter is better and longer lasting. So your iPhone is planned obsolescence. It's designed to break down in 2 or 3 years. So you can get the next one. As for Jannah, as for the Akhirah, خالدين فيها أبدا. Jannah, we're going to dwell therein forever. So what's better? One who prefers the stuff of this world, like the first man, they're described by Allah as, and he described this man, وَدَخَلَ جَنَّتَهُ وَهُوَ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. He was oppressing his soul. Those who prefer the petty for the grand, and the grand things are those things that Allah gives us in the Akhirah. Allah says about them, بِئْسَ لِلظَّالِمِينَ بَدَلًا. What a vile exchange the oppressors have made. La ilaha illallah. So he says, perhaps my Lord will give me better than your garden, and send upon your garden thunderbolts from heaven that will reduce it to just slippery sand, infirm sand. In other words, that will return it back to its origins. That will return it back to its origin. فعسى ربي أن يؤتينا خيرا من جنتك ويرسل عليها حسبانا من السماء فتصبح صعيدا زلقا أو يصبح ماؤها غورا فلن تستطيع له طلبا. Or the water in your garden will be sucked up by the ground, and you will never be able to retrieve it. La ilaha illallah. You never, we can't control the rain. Many areas are suffering from a lack of rain. Areas in our country right now, they're parched. We can't control the rain. No matter, we can have all our computer programs. We can consult with Mr. Zuckerberg. Like, Mark, can you give me an algorithm to make it rain? So they can give an algorithm to try to predict your behavior. When you do Google searches, you should mess the algorithms up. So they're trying to get you to watch another football highlight. Say penguins in Antarctica. Type in penguins in Antarctica. Just start putting crazy things in. We're the empire. The empire strikes back. May Allah give us tawfiq. We can't control the rain. La ilaha illallah. وحيط بثمره فأصبح يقلب كفيه على ما أنفق فيها وهي خاوية على عروشها ويقول يا ليتني لم أشرك بربي أحدا. لا إله إلا الله. So his fruits were encompassed with ruin, and he remained wringing his hands. So twisting, we say using it, wringing his hand. Yeah. So wringing his hand. I don't know if that's how you spell wringing. I don't think so. What you have before you guys, but I had twisting. So wring his hand is better than twisting, but wringing would probably be better than ring. He started wringing his hands over what he had spent on his property, which had now tumbled to pieces to its very foundation. And he could only say, woe to me. Would I never have ascribed partners to Allah, to my Lord and Cherisher. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. وهي خاوية على عروشها. Reduced back to its origin. It's nothing. Crumbled, ruined, soon to be swept away and buried in the sand. La ilaha illallah. Fortunately for this man, and this shows the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was able to snap out of his delusion. Some people are unable. Even when they hit rock bottom, they are deluded into thinking that, if I only work hard enough, I could rebuild this. No, he came to realize and to accept and to acknowledge and to proclaim this was from Allah. This was from Allah. I ascribed myself as a partner to Allah, and Allah took me to task. Brothers and sisters, reflect on this. Look at your lives. Look at your actions. Look at what you're doing. And I say, let us look at our lives. Let us look at our actions. Let us look at what we're doing to see if even in subtle ways we're interjecting and imposing ourselves in realms that are strictly reserved for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we find that we are, to immediately put on the brakes and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us to see those things within ourselves, within our actions, within our attitudes, within our very thoughts. وَلَمْ تَقُلْ لَهُ فِيَةٌ يَنْصُرُونَهُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ مُنْتَصِرًا. And he found no group or party that can help him against Allah. And manpower, I think that's, in this context, manpower probably isn't the best word. They say we needed more manpower to push the car out of the rut. But anyway, it is what it is. Here he says, Yusuf Ali says, he had no numbers. But fi'ah is a group, a party, in any case, to assist him other than Allah, to assist them, to help them against Allah, to assist them other than Allah, min dunillah. So to assist them against Allah, to help them rebel against Allah, to assist them other than Allah. Only Allah was ever able to help him. وَمَا كَانَ مُنْتَصِرًا. And he could not deliver himself. So they could not assist him, and nor could he assist himself. So this shows that we're capable of awakening from delusion. This shows that we're capable of our thoughts and our emotions, our consciousness transcending materialism and recognizing the reality of La ilaha illallah. هنالك الولاية لله الحق هو خير ثوابا وخير عقبا. And there, the only protection comes from Allah, the true one. He is the best to reward and the best to give success. So usually this section stops here. We want to just add 2 more verses because they're relevant to the discussion. So the next verse, وَاضْرِبْ لَهُم مَثَلَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا كَمَاءٍ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فاختلط به نبات الأرض فأصبح حشيما تذروه الرياح وكان الله على كل شيء مقتدرا. So set forth for them the similitude of the life of this world. It is like the rain we send down from the skies. The earth's vegetation absorbs it, but soon it becomes dry stubble, which the winds do scatter. It is only Allah who prevails over all things. So I say this verse is relevant because it really summarizes the whole story. That this garden started with the rain that Allah sent down from the sky, and the earth absorbed it, and it brought forth rich vegetation. But soon that vegetation dries up. So the man's garden dried up. فأحيط بثمره. So his fruits, they're all dried up. And that the winds scatter. And it would be scattered by the winds and buried in the sand. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُقْتَدِرًا. And Allah's will prevails over all things, as his friend reminded him. وَلَوْلَا إِذْ دَخَلْتَ جَنَّتَكَ قُلْتَ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ. When you enter your garden, say مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُقْتَدِرًا. And it is Allah's will that prevails over everything. And then finally, the man was boasting about what? He was boasting about his wealth and his family, his entourage. المال والبنون زينة الحياة الدنيا والباقيات الصالحات خير عند ربك ثوابا وخير أملا. Wealth, his garden. Sons, his entourage, are the allurements of the life of this world. But the things that endure, the good things that are best with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are the reward. Good deeds, but the things that endure, good deeds, are best in the sight of Allah as rewards and as the foundation for hopes. So wealth and children are the adornment of this world, but the everlasting good deeds are far better with your Lord in reward and in hope. And so it reminds us, brothers and sisters, don't be deceived by the material wherewithal of this world. Don't be deceived by what you think you possess, when in reality it all belongs to Allah, including us. And this is why we remind ourselves at the time of death, what do we say? Istirja. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We come from Allah, and unto Him we're all returning. So may Allah Ta'ala bless us. May Allah Ta'ala, we pray that we said something that was beneficial, and if we didn't, please forgive us. And may Allah bless us to really reflect on this surah. This chapter is a very deep surah. And just one other thing, like just the man's companion. He never boasted about anything. He never even claimed he owned anything. She said, "In tarani aqalla minka mala wa walada." If you see me less than you in terms of wealth and sons, he didn't say I own anything. If you perceive that I own less than you. And so this was al-abd al-zahid. This was a servant who had divorced his heart from the world. So he owned things, and as he said, you might see what I own, but he made no claims, and he attributed nothing to himself. He attributed everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's the negation of materialism. We attribute nothing to material causes. We attribute it all to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the material causes are just servants that Allah ta'ala uses to affect His will in the world. So I started late and I ate up most of the Q&A time, but if there are any questions or answers or comments, ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. Barakallahu feekum wa bikum. We're the empire, and the empire strikes back. Alhamdulillah, Imam Zaid is master in the turban. One in his life and destruction for the akhirah. May Allah make us all a source of good.
Assalamualaikum, Imam Zaid. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for that beautiful reflection and khutbah portion of today's program. We are short on the Q&A, but I think we can do maybe 2 or 3 questions, inshallah. And so we do have questions already sent, but if you have a question, you can post it in the comments or email us at info@CelebrateMercy.com for any anonymous question. But let me pull up the questions, inshallah, that we've already been sent. So I think this was a really relevant question. So Sister Rabia said, Salam, how do you deal with toxic and ungrateful people that are constantly comparing themselves and their things, their spouses, their children to you, despite having many blessings themselves?
Pray for them. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes them more appreciative of their blessings. As you mentioned, ungrateful. So pray for them that Allah makes them appreciative of the blessings that they have, and remind them. How many people in this world, especially in our ummah, who can't even afford to get married? Or how many people are having great difficulty getting married and finding a spouse? And Allah blessed you. How many people who are married can't have children for one reason or another? So don't complain about these beautiful gifts that Allah has given you. Give thanks for them. And the beauty of shukr is, as Allah says, وَلَئِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you give thanks for my blessing, I will increase you in those blessings. And one aspect of the increase that we don't often think about, and again, this transcends the material. So we think about, if I give thanks for my garden, Allah will bless me with an even bigger, more productive, more fertile garden. But also, if we give thanks, Allah will bless us to appreciate what we do have more. And that is a form of increase, because our appreciation transcends the scope of what we have. So we didn't get a physical increase, but we were increased in terms of appreciating what we do have. So it's as if we had more because of the abundance of our shukr, our thankfulness. And that's what shukr means. Shukr, the Arabs say, ibilun shakur. So Ibn Shakur is a camel that gets fat on a very small amount of pasture. And Allah as-Shakur, fa-as-Shakur bihaqillah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as-Shakur as it relates to Allah ta'ala is huwa alladhi yu'ti thawaban jazilan ala amalin qalil. He's the one who gives great reward for a little bit of action. So the man who killed 100 people, never prayed, never fasted, never gave any zakat, he was just trying to go to the good land. And Allah gave him Jannah for that. Yu'ti thawaban jazilan ala amalin qalil. The one who gives a great reward over a little bit of action. And so if we have what we deem to be a little blessing, but we give shukr, then it will be made to appear great. So encourage that person to be very thankful and grateful for what they have by reminding them of those who lack what they have. I was complaining about not having any shoes until I saw a man who had no feet. Then I sobered up.
Thank you for that beautiful answer. We're not going to be able to get to all the questions for those of you who are turning in some, but I'm going to try to get to the ones I think that will benefit a lot of people. So this question I think is really relevant to a lot of people's lives. Brother Masood asked, though boasting is frowned upon based on today's learning, how do we balance accomplishments and maybe talking about accomplishments like in places of work or with children to encourage them? How do we balance those two ideas?
By recognizing that there are two ideas. So boasting is one thing, and encouraging someone is another. So you don't use the words of a braggart to encourage your children. I'm the best thing since sliced bread. No. Wait a minute. I'm the best thing since air. Since air. You don't use that to encourage your children. Say, listen, I had to overcome a lot at work to really get to the top. And so if you work hard, stay focused, put these devices down, pick up books. Reading develops your mind, because you have to create an image of what you're reading. TREE is in a tree. It's just symbols. In different language, those symbols would be different. In Arabic, it would be sheen, jim, ra, ta marbuta. And your mind creates the image of a tree from those symbols, and then your mind creates an entire story from countless symbols that your mind puts together. But if you sit back and just watching trees on a screen, the work is done for you. So pick up a book, put the device down, cultivate your mind, learn to work hard. Don't let adversity stop you. Those are the things that I had to do to get to the top of my company. Totally different realities than I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. If the company got rid of me, the stock would plummet like the Russian Moscow stock market the day before yesterday. So it's totally different. They say, Yani, the eloquence is the appropriate level of speech. No, having a level of speech that reflects the requisites of the situation. So the situation of encouraging your children is totally different than a situation that you might find yourself boasting in. I hope that makes sense.
No, I think it definitely made sense. And I think it makes sense for like people who are in the workplace trying to talk about what are their accomplishments. It helps balance the two. Um, Everyone's saying best thing since peanut butter. There is
Peanut
best thing
butter.
since peanut butter since bread.
So
I don't know.
not in my dollar.
So I
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us before that.
okay.
Moving right along.
Um,
I was gonna make an
I
almond.
think we can.
Yellow.
No, go ahead.
No. We're short on time.
I think we can ask one more question. And several people asked about, I guess, your take on what's happening with, Russia and things like that. And so, Sister Sukhna asked, some people are assuming that this is World War III and are stocking up on foodstuffs, knowing that Allah owns everything. Is it wise to prep or better to trust Allah?
The two again are mutually exclusive. Separate them. Trusting in Allah is one thing. That's something we should always do, and the entire camel is another thing. So if you want to stock up generally, but this is not World War III. I can guarantee you of that. I can't guarantee you. If Allah wills, it'll be World War III. But based on everything that I personally know and have studied and have understood, this is not World War III. This is a situation that has been a long time in the making, and it involves really a violation of. So, for example, they say Putin is violating the post-war order, but when Stalin and FDR and Churchill met at Yalta, and they carved out spheres of influence. So the Soviet sphere of influence included those countries that the Soviet army had occupied on its march to Berlin. And it came to include East Germany, Poland. Ukraine wasn't an independent country at that point, but Ukraine was clearly in the Soviet sphere of influence. When and that was part of the foundation of the post-war order. When the Iron Curtain fell with the collapse of the old Soviet Union, and the nations of Eastern Europe gained their independence. Their independence was accepted by the newly formed Russian Federation. And there was only one caveat, that these nations would remain under our de facto, not de jure, de facto sphere of influence. When I think it was 1996, the United States urged for the expansion of NATO eastward into the former Soviet bloc countries, such as Poland and Ukraine at that point, which had gained its independence, this was perceived by Russia as a violation of the post-war order that was rooted, and then it subsequently took shape through many other arrangements in the meeting between FDR, Churchill, and Stalin. And so that George Kennan, so when this post-war order with the respective spheres of influence were established, the document of containment to contain the Soviet Union from further expansion was developed. As chief architect was George Kennan. George Kennan, when the United States decided to push for the expansion of NATO eastward into the former Soviet bloc countries, was vehemently against it and said there's no reason for it because Russia had accepted the status quo. These countries can be independent as long as NATO recognizes they're still under our sphere of influence. And that violated that aspect of the post-World War II order. And George Kennan predicted it would lead eventually to the situation we have today. So this situation was a long time in the making. It involves the Russian sphere of influence. For that reason, I don't think there'll be further expansion, but there have been what they call irrational actors in history who haven't always done the rational thing or the thing that conforms to any pre-existing or extant political or geopolitical arrangements. So Allahu A'lam wal Musta'an, but I don't think it's World War II, III rather. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. World War I started with an assassination. And so this situation is far graver than an assassination. So we don't know. Once you drop a match on a pile of in a forest, thinking that, and you leave the fire thinking that the wind's going to blow the fire, which is like 3 meters from the interstate, towards the interstate, and it's so small it's not going to be able to jump the interstate and it's going to go out. You don't know if the wind is going to shift and it blows the fire back towards all of that combustible material. And so wars can take a life of their own. They're very unpredictable. To be honest with you, I think our country is taking a somewhat hypocritical position. In other words, we still have the Monroe Doctrine. So it hasn't had the gravitas that it had during the latter part of the 19th and first half of the 20th century, but we still have the Monroe Doctrine. What was the Monroe Doctrine? There'll be no European imperial advances in this hemisphere, not on our borders, in this hemisphere. And so for us to turn around and make those kind of encroachments is somewhat hypocritical, but it's complex, like most situations that lead to armed conflict are. So we pray that Allah brings peace and that the status quo antebellum can ANTEBELLUM can prevail, and so these nations can, and Ukraine can maintain its independence, and that this threat of a NATO expansion, and not to say that would placate Putin, but it would take away the immediate and the historical foundation of this particular act of aggression. Wallahu a'lam.
Thank you. I know I said that was the last question, but I think we want to end with one more question that's kind of related to today's topic, if that's okay, or you?
One more question is going to cost 5 rupees. You have 5 rupees?
I don't, but I can ask Brother Tarek, inshallah, if we have that.
He's Egyptian. He's probably not going to have any rupees. You have to ask a Pakistani brother or sister.
Sister, so I'll ask them of our team, but can we just do one more, inshallah? This is a question that came in through email, so we kind of want to honor that system. This question was about, is it possible to attain the wisdom that we've been learning from you, Imam Zaid, and through all the teachers that we've had, and be guided in our lives without a spiritual sheikh, just by listening to various talks by scholars and studying deen? Is that enough for one's tazkiyah? And we'll end with that question, inshallah.
For most people, it's not, but you don't necessarily need a sheikh because there might not be a sheikh near you. And so long distance sheikh murid relationships aren't necessarily the healthiest, but you might. So many of our akabir are great spiritual leaders. They say, if you can't find a sheikh, فَأَخٌ نَاصِحٌ, then a brother or sister that will give you sincere advice. So someone that can look at you from outside of yourself, because we can't even see our nose without the aid of a mirror, or nowadays a Zoom or StreamYard link. But left to our own devices, we can't see we don't know what our nose looks like. We're left to our own devices. So think throughout history of the billions of people who have walked this earth and have never seen their nose. And so if we can't see our nose, how difficult is it for us to see internal faults within ourselves? And so if we have a sheikh or we have a sincere brother or sister who can provide us sincere counsel concerning those things they might observe about us that need a little work, then that will be extremely helpful. And some people have tawfiq and they're able to make rapid spiritual progress without either, but those are rare people. So may Allah give us tawfiq and taysir. You're muted.
Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us on today's session. We really appreciated it. We learned so much. And may Allah reward you and your family. May Allah increase you guys, inshallah. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time. We have a lot of questions, which means we'll have to invite you back on very soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. Barakallah fikum. May Allah bless you. Bless Celebrate Mercy, Brother Tariq and his team. Bless you, dear sister, and all the work that you do on, I'm sure, many fronts over and beyond the Celebrate Mercy front. And hopefully Allah Ta'ala will bring us back together again. And Allah, notice I didn't say soon. Not that I don't like you guys, but it can get very busy and hectic sometimes. So Allah
one day, inshallah.
Inshallah Ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
So, alhamdulillah, that was our Imam Zaid, the people's Imam. Please, again, do keep him in your du'as. You can follow him on any of these social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Again, keep him, his family in your du'as, especially on this Friday as we go down to the last few hours of Friday. Make sure you are, and keeping the team in your du'as as well, inshallah, zaytuna, all of it, inshallah. And so we just would like to remind you that if you'd like to sponsor one of these sessions, the Friday Gems, a future one, there are plenty of spots open. You can email us at info@celebratemерcy.com to learn more about that, inshallah, and we will get back to you. It's a great way to get sadaqah jariyah, to spread beneficial knowledge, to spread the light of the Quran, inshallah. So if you'd like to sponsor one, then email us again, info@celebratemercy.com. If you missed the class that we did this past 2 weeks, you can still watch the recordings. If you'd like to access them, you can register at celebratemercy.com/BL to access all the recordings for the expanded Black Lives Around the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam course. And we had several special guests on there joining Sheikh Mendez. So definitely register and receive access to the recordings. It was a really beautiful class, alhamdulillah. We are hiring, so if you are interested in joining the Celebrate Mercy team, you can learn more and apply at CelebrateMercy.com/careers to learn about the different positions that we have. I believe we have full-time and possibly part-time positions that are available. So if you go to that link, CelebrateMercy.com/careers, you can learn more on how to apply for those positions, inshallah. And again, please do keep our team in your du'as. We are only able to do this through Allah's tawfiq and His grace and through your support. And so if you'd like to support Celebrate Mercy financially, then you can give a one-time or a monthly donation at the link celebratemercy.com/donate. And alhamdulillah, we've been able to do so much work through all of you guys' support, all of your du'as, over 800 hours of content, 390 webinars since COVID. We've been able to raise over $1 million in relief projects that are spread across different issues. And again, the link to keep supporting us and to keep allowing us to do these sorts of things is celebratemercy.com/donate. And if you have cryptocurrency, I don't know if I don't hear much about it anymore, but if you're still dealing in cryptocurrency, then you can donate that as well. Again, save the date for our upcoming webinar, Ascent After Anguish, Reflections on the Surah and Miraj. This coming up Monday, February 28th in the evening, we will be releasing more information about that soon, inshallah, I believe. And if you shop on Amazon, like most of us do, even though we talked about materialism today, if you do shop on Amazon, if you go to smile.amazon.com and select Celebrate Mercy as your chosen charity, a small portion of that, anytime you shop through that link, will go to Celebrate Mercy. So it's a way to get some barakah in your shopping, inshallah. So go to use that link when you shop on Amazon, and I think 0.5 of your percent of your purchase will go automatically to Celebrate Mercy. And if you are interested in learning Quranic Arabic, we are almost in Ramadan, less than 40 days, I believe, to get closer to the Quran, to learn more, and to gain more access to it. You can go on this 15th month Quranic Arabic journey with Fawakih. And if you use the code CelebrateMercy35, inshallah, you should get 35% off of the tuition. So it cuts down to about $15.60 of tuition and shipping. And I definitely encourage everybody who's interested in learning more Arabic and getting more access to the Quran to do so and to sign up for this, inshallah. And we just want to thank you all for tuning in today. I apologize that we went over time, but I think it was a really beautiful session. And so may Allah reward you all. Please keep our team in your du'as. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.